This story would begin on the planet of Beerus, where Goku and Vegeta were training. As Goku was motivated by wanting to master Ultra Instinct, Vegeta didn't want Goku to overcome it. The two were training with Whis, but the Angel of Universe 7 would realize that his staff would be glowing, then stop the training to see what was going on. "What's going on, Mr. Whis?" "Apparently someone is calling me." Whis, when answering the call, was Vados, the Angel of Universe 6. In a desperate tone, she would tell him, "Whis, gather the most powerful warriors you have as soon as possible and head towards the place of Zeno-sama. Our father betrayed us. Me, Margarita, and the Guardians are trying to protect Zeno-sama. Also, contact all the gods and angels you can. We need help urgently." Whis would enter in desperation and would talk to Vegeta to go wake up Beerus, and Goku to mention to the warriors that can be of help. Goku immediately tells him to go look for Broly. It is then that Goku, Whis, Vegeta, and Beerus would go to the planet Vampa. It's there that they would find the legendary Super Saiyan. "Broly, we need you to come with us." "I can't now. What's wrong?" Goku would yell at him just to accompany them, and Broly would understand that it was something serious. Then they would go to the Kai's planet, so he'd take them faster to the palace. Then Kibito would use his technique to get to Zeno-sama's planet. That's when the real terror would begin. Daishinkan would have killed the guardians of Zeno-sama. The priest was unrecognizable. His eyes had become a reddish color. He was not the same serene and calm priest he used to be. He had changed completely. Daishinkan would notice the presence of our warriors. He would decide to go assassinate the Zeno-sama of the future. Vados, Markiata, and the other angels and destroyer gods were seriously wounded. Some of them were even dead. Our warriors had arrived too late. Daishinkan would put his hand in front of Zeno-sama of the future, so with one attack, he would pulverize him. Zeno-sama could not erase him every time he tried. His technique was in vain. It didn't work against the priest. It is then that the priest would say, "It's a real shame. You can see that you can't use your powers, Zeno-sama. Leave them to me. I will give them a better use." Daishinkan would start grabbing Zeno-sama by the head, thus absorbing all of his powers. Goku would go into a state of rage, and he could no longer watch this scene, and would go to attack Daishinkan, but Vegeta would stop him. "Vegeta! Let go of me, damn it! Can't you see something has to be done?"
"Wait, Kakarot! Don't be so dumb! For once, just listen to me. If you go in there, you'll be killed in an instant!"
At that moment, Beerus and Whis would decide to fuse, thus giving way to a super god. But it was too late. Daishinkan had already absorbed the powers of Zeno-sama, and nothing could stop him. The defeat was inevitable. The fusion would surrender, but Goku would not. It was then that he would transform into Super Saiyan Blue and launch a Kamehameha, but his attack would be destroyed. "I'm fine with you accepting your defeat, since now I'm practically the most powerful in existence. I'll now erase the entire multiverse." That's how Daishinkan would raise his hand and do the technique used by Zeno-sama to erase everything in existence. When everything seemed to be over, a strange event would happen. Goku had returned to the time of his childhood. In short, he had been born again. But that would not only happen to Goku, but also to Vegeta and Broly. Something or someone had given the opportunity to remedy everything. Where the hell am I? Why do I feel so small, and what is this planet? Goku would find himself on planet Vegeta. His father, Bardock, who was loading his ship to send him to Earth. It is then that Goku would overhear the conversation his parents would have. "You take such extreme measures, Bardock. No Saiyan man cares so much for his children."
"I always spend my time on the battlefield, so I'd like at least once in my life to preserve something, especially if it's someone who's destined to be a low-class warrior. I mean a warrior!"
Goku would understand everything, the reason in which his parents sent him to Earth. He realized that Frieza was going to destroy his parents along with all of his race, and that he had to do something to prevent it. Then Goku, with all of his strength, would leave the ship, breaking it completely. Bardock and Gine would be impressed with the feat that Goku did, and it's then that Goku would tell his parents that he wants to stay to fight against Frieza. Bardock would be fascinated with the attitude that his son had shown. "Son,
I'm proud of your attitude, but unfortunately you can't. You don't have enough power, since you are a low-class Saiyan.
Of course I have enough power. Goku would start to raise his power like this, making everything fly. Bardock couldn't believe the amount of power Goku was giving off. Jin'ei on his side would be insisting Bardock for Goku to stay. It is then that Bardock would say, "Alright, Kakarot, you'll stay. But first let me measure your power level with a scouter. If it's not high enough, you're going to Earth." Goku confidently would nod his head. Meanwhile, Vegeta would wake up on another planet. Confused, Vegeta would wonder where the hell he was. In the middle of the night, Nappa would wake up.
"Hey, Vegeta, is everything okay?"
Vegeta, seeing Nappa, would be so surprised that he would take a few steps back and unintentionally step on Raditz.
"Hey, be more careful next time, you idiot."
Vegeta would think it was a dream, but on his tracker, a communication would sound. "Attention Saiyans! Attention Saiyans! Lord Frieza wants you all on planet Vegeta because he wants to have an important meeting." At that moment, Vegeta would realize that he was in the moment before his race was destroyed.
"Nappa, Raditz, and the others, get up! We're going home." "But Vegeta, we thought you didn't want to go. Get up and let's go, right now before I get mad and kill you again."
Vegeta would leave towards planet Vegeta, thinking about how he was going to avoid the destruction of his race, and thinking about what happened in that fight against Daishinkan, also if it would have happened to Kakarot, same thing that happened to him. Thousands of questions had flooded Vegeta's mind. Meanwhile, Broly would wake up because some soldiers were taking him to a ship. They were going to send him to the planet Vampa. Broly would realize that he was a child again, and immediately he would remember his father. Then when Broly started to resist, and the soldiers would shoot him with their guns, that would only make him even more angry. Then Broly would charge an attack and would throw it to the soldiers, as he managed to escape. Broly luckily remembered his home on planet Vegeta. It's then that he'd enter and meet his father. Broly would be excited to see his father again, and in tears would go to hug him. Paragus would wake up and ask Broly why he wasn't in the breeding capsule. It's then that Broly would tell him about the soldiers, and that they were going to send him to a planet. It's then that Paragus would understand and tell him, "Alright Broly, tomorrow we're going to kill Vegeta. Now go get some rest." Paragus would be thinking that Vegeta is envious to want to send his son to another planet, just because his power was superior to the prince's. Morning would come on the planet Vegeta, and Vegeta had arrived with his comrades to his home.
"What? How come they didn't send Broly to planet Vegeta? Bring Paragus and Broly here immediately."
After a few moments, Paragus would arrive with his son to the kingdom.
"Paragus, your son seriously injured some soldiers last night. If he's just a child, he's a threat. I can't imagine the danger he'll be to everyone when he's a man. My son defended himself because you were going to take him to another planet by force. Your son has an incredible power, even more than many of us here. You never thought that your son is a mutant? He'll get out of control, and no one will be able to stop him. Have you thought about the chaos he would unleash if he becomes an Ozaru? He represents a danger to the race. That's why I decided to send him to a distant planet. Broly will know how to control his power since he has me. Then help him learn to use his power away from this planet."
King Vegeta would order to send them both to planet Vampa. But that's when Vegeta would take action.
"No, father. They'll stay here." "I don't understand. Why do you want them to stay here?"
Vegeta, thinking of some excuse, would say,
"It's because Broly's the only one who can give me a fight on this boring planet full of debts."
King Vegeta would smile and let Paragus and Broly stay, but on one condition, that they cut off Broly's tail in the meantime. "Alright, Kakarot, we'll use my tracker to measure your fighting power. Now start to raise your power. I want to see your maximum capacity." Goku would begin to increase his power, reaching extremely high levels for any Saiyan. Vegeta would realize the great power he felt, and a smile would form on his face, since he knew that this power was from Kakarot. Bardock would begin to measure with his tracker, and it had already reached over 90,000. In this story, Goku would have been just reborn with part of his power, more or less the amount he had when he fought against Captain Ginyu in the Frieza saga, while Vegeta would have the power of 76,000 units. And finally, Broly, being a child and knowing the basics of fighting, would only moderately be stronger than the child of the original story, reaching a power level of 30,000. Of course, these surpassed any Saiyan, even the power of King Vegeta and the power of Bardock, since the power of both was merely 10,000. Bardock would say that this power was more than enough to defeat Frieza, but obviously he didn't know Frieza's maximum power level. Goku would say that it wasn't enough to defeat him. He still has to train more to fight Frieza. In the kingdom, the king would have dinner with the prince.
And tell me, son, how was the conquest of the planet?
Well, we were able to conquer. I got even more power. Vegeta would begin to increase his power in a sudden way, making the place where they were shake. Goku, who could sense the power of others, would feel Vegeta's, and without hesitation, he would go to where he was.
Kakarot, what are you doing?
I'm going to Vegeta.
Vegeta, before his father said a word, would tell him to let him pass. That's when Goku would pass, and when Goku and Vegeta would see each other's faces again.
But this is Kakarot, Bardock's son. Dare you come talk to the prince being a low-class warrior?
Don't get carried away by their power levels, Dad. That bastard in front of you is the most powerful of our race.
The king would laughably decide to measure Goku's power, and to his surprise, that would be a power level of 90,000.
Vegeta, we need to talk.
Same here, Kakarot.
That's when the two would realize that they'd been reborn with all of their memories.
That damn daishinkan. I swear this time I'll train to become twice as strong so I can kill that damn thing.
We'll have to be twice as prepared for what's going to happen, but now we have to focus on Frieza. My father's going to rebel against him today.
So your father already guessed it. That's why he sent you to Earth. He's a cunning Saiyan.
We need to come up with a plan to kill him since we don't have enough power to defeat him yet. I could use the Spirit Bomb.
I have a better idea.
Vegeta would gather 10 Saiyans. Among them were Nappa, Raditz, King Vegeta, Bardock, and they were going to do the ritual for the two of them to become a Super Saiyan God.